This Pecron unit looks like a dick magnet for people that live in the woods. It looks like a Call of Duty care package that got dropped out of an airplane with a freaking lead acid battery inside. But hopefully your parents taught you not to judge a book by its cover. Ever since we started this channel, we have had a ton of requests to review the Pecron brand. That could be because they've been around for almost 12 years at this point, or it could be because they actually make decent units at an affordable price, which seems to be a lot of people's arguments, though this unit is pretty much the exact same price as the competitive Anchor and Jackery and EcoFlow units, so I'm interested to see how it does. Either way, we finally got our hands on our very first Pecron power station. This is the E1500, so it's like a mid-range entry-level power station. And as you guys know, here at the lab, our opinions cannot be bought. So we will leave links to Mr. Pecky down below. I don't think they gave us a coupon code for this one. If they did, we will put it there, but I don't think that we got one. Otherwise, as always, before we jump into everything that we like, don't like, and of course the results of our testing, we're gonna hit you guys with a super quick 2-minute teardown for everyone that's not familiar with the Pecron E1500. First up, this thing passes the tiny baby lift test. It weighs 40 pounds, which is not bad. It has a 1536 watt-hour battery bank, and this unit's actually expandable up to 7,680 watt-hours, which is actually on the bigger end of expandability for smaller power stations. It has a 2,200 watt pure sine wave inverter that says it has a surge rating of 4,400 watts. You also have a 700 and a 100 watt DC input, so that's basically 800 watts total of solar input, which is actually pretty good in comparison to the battery size. And when you go ahead and plug this thing into a 120 volt regular wall outlet in your house, it charges with 1,400 watts, which is just 400 watts less than like the industry standard 1800 watt AC input. In terms of ports, this guy has the 3 120 volt house plugs right here on the front. You have 2 USB-Cs, one's 100 watts, one's 18, and then you have 4 USB-As. You have a barrel connector. You have this XT60 looking port. I'm always confused what people use this for, but we have one there. You also have a 12 volt car socket up top. And then in terms of inputs, you have this guy right here for your solar input. That's for your 700 watts. You also have just a regular 12 volt barrel connector, which does up to 100 watts. And then right here is where you would plug in your 120 volt wall plug. You have an expansion battery port on the side behind this little flap. In terms of the screen, it's not terrible. It's very straightforward. Everything is bold, pretty easy to understand what's going on. And Pecron actually makes a pretty decent app. It doesn't give you access to very many settings that you don't have access to directly from here, but you can go in there and change small things like your screen brightness, your AC output frequency in case you need to do that, as well as output voltage and a couple things. Lets you see alarm records. Nothing crazy, but it's actually a really clean app. I do like the look of it. And the regular price on this power station is $12.99. We all know that they're always on sale. We might even be able to squeeze a coupon code out of these guys before the video goes live. But for that price, like I said earlier, it's basically the same as the Anchor F1500, as the Jackery 1000 Plus, as some of the EcoFlow products. And so I was really interested when we first got our hands on this to find out, why was there so much hype and is it worth the price? So we're gonna get started here with things that I like about Mr. Pecky, and the first one is kind of weird. I feel like more companies could do this, they just don't. Aside from coming in a really nice carrying case, all of the cables, you get this jump starter for your car. This is like a car jump starter cables. You can use it for anything 12 volt battery wise. It plugs into the 12 volt XT60 connector that I was confused about. It's got an inline fuse right here, a 30 amp fuse, which is pretty good. And this is something that there's really no reason why other power station companies can't do. Second thing I really like is just the little orange rubber feet on each corner. It just makes you feel a little bit better about the durability of this unit when you put it down, when you bump it into something. Even just putting it down right now, it doesn't need rubber feet to not move. It's like pretty stable without having feet under it just from these corners. So I do really like that. I have been known to smack power stations around just a little more than I should. I also really appreciate the wireless phone charger on top. Almost all power stations that don't do this, to me, it's a waste of space. You have a giant platform on the top of the power station, throw a wireless charger on there, way more convenient, and it's like you're wasting real estate if you don't put that there. So I love that they did include that on this unit. And the last two things that I really like are, first off, the solar input. I don't love the plug that you need to use used for the solar input, but 800 watts for a 1500 watt battery bank is a really good ratio. The Afery air fryer power station that we just did not too long ago was like a 2000 watt power bank with a 500 watt solar input. So that's 4 hours to charge that thing up. Whereas this is like 2. I really like that. That's actually reasonable. That's cool. And to go with that, I like the expandability of this. I always recommend to you guys that you get power stations that are expandable. So, you know, you buy this one, it's 1500 watts. In the future, you want another one, you can just buy an expansion battery for less than a unit, and now you have 3000 watts. Your needs go up a little bit more, you buy another expansion battery, so on and so on. This expands way better than a lot of the other competitors. So 7600 watts can be expanded on top of just this guy, which is pretty impressive, and I really like that. Coming to some of the things that I don't like about Mr. Pecky, and the first one is that there is no power button. Right now the DC inverter is on, that's why the screen is on. If you turn the DC inverter off, the whole thing shuts off, and you can't just come up and like, oh, what's my battery percentage at? There's no button for that. You have to turn on an inverter just to find out what your system's at, and now you can hear the inverter coming on, which is just a little weird. And the reason I think it's weird is because 1, I can't just walk up and see what the screen's at. 2, if I have stuff plugged into this, for example, like if it's like, say it's in my van, I have to walk up, turn on whatever's plugged into it just to see what the battery's at. To me, that's a little weird. I don't know. I prefer to have a power button so I know it's either on or off, and so I can just quickly at a glance see what's going on. I also really don't like the surge. We'll get into that in the testing in just a minute, but the surge doesn't really surge. If you're gonna rate a unit for a surge capacity, it should really be able to do that just for a second, and this doesn't at all, and I just don't love that. It's also just kind of ugly, dude. Like, it's kind of not the best power station appeal to me. When you look at it, it looks rugged. It looks like it just fell out of an airplane. It looks dated. It looks like it has a lead acid battery, and like it looks old. There's all kinds of ports that, you know, we don't generally use. There's like this little replaceable fuse for the AC input, and I get that that's useful and a good thing to have, but just it doesn't add to the value of the look of this thing. It just looks kind of dated and And like I said in the intro of this video, hopefully your parents taught you not to judge a book by its cover. So just because I think it looks dumb and dated doesn't mean it can't perform. So we ran this thing through some baseline testing that we like to run all our power stations through, starting with efficiency. And efficiency is important because if this is a 1500 watt battery, you plug a 100 watt heated sleeping bag into there while you're camping, you're expecting it to last 15 hours if it's 100% efficient. That's not normally the case, and you might wake up freezing cold in the middle of the night depending on how efficient a unit is. So this is a 1536 watt hour battery with a 2200 watt inverter. So we ran just over an 1800 watt load, which gets it pretty close to the inverter's max. So the fans are running hard, the inverter's working hard. That's when it's going to be at its least efficient. And in this test, it should have lasted 49 minutes. It actually lasted 44 minutes, which makes this thing 90% efficient, which is honestly a lot better than a lot of power stations that we test.
That's an A, dude.
Yeah, we rarely see over 85%, so that's actually a really good result. One thing to note is that it said it overheated. We run all of our efficiency tests in the same spot, in the same temperature, and the same everything. We've only ever had one overheat, which was the all powers, and it cooked itself all to hell. You could have made eggs on it. This one said it overheated when I turned it on, and I don't know if that was a default of it being dead, saying it was overheating, or if it was really, really hot, and then when it turned off, the fans never stayed on, and so it threw on an overheating logo because it turned off hot and it wasn't getting any cooler. I'm not sure. Could be worrisome, but like, I don't know. It didn't do anything bad, but it did chuck on the logo. It's like driving like a old Honda. Like the engine light comes on sometimes, but you know you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, if you're buying a unit like this, you put tape over where the heat logo goes and you'll be fine. When it comes to charge speed, we plug this thing into a 120 volt outlet inside of our house, and it should have charged in an hour and 6 minutes. It actually charged in an hour and 46 minutes, which is about
It's slow.
but most power stations are over. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Slower, dude.
Under 2 hours to get it from 0 to full, mid. When it comes to surging this unit though, it doesn't like to surge. It doesn't do voltage drops or anything weird. It just doesn't like to surge. As soon as you hit the capacity, everything shuts off immediately. Like, it doesn't like to carry anything more than 2200 watts at all. So just know that you have no leeway if you buy something like this to even run 2300 watts for a minute. Not happy. In terms of sound test, this thing sounds kind of like a grumbly beehive. It makes a really weird grungy noise. It's not EcoFlow, expensive computer just humming. And in terms of the solar input, it's really, really nice. It's got a really high voltage range. Like I've already told you guys, I love the 800 watt input. We never had any problem getting the full 800 watts into this thing. And there was tons of room to do it. Just run a bunch of panels in parallel and you're good to go. It was very simple. Shouldn't be complicated for the average consumer to do, which I like. And the last test is pass through. If you have something plugged into this unit and you're powering it, can you also plug this into the wall or into a solar panel and power that device and then put the rest of the power into the battery bank? And the answer is yes. It works for AC and solar, which is really nice. I guess at the end of the day, I get it. If you want a power station that has a ton of ports and that you're probably not going to use, but you could, but you're probably not going to, but you could, I get it. I think all power station companies have units that absolutely smash, and then they also have units that are just medium. And I think for this being our first Pecron, it was medium. It didn't do anything that blew me away. I'm sure they have some power stations that would blow us away, so I would like to continue searching as this one was not a complete fail. My biggest concern with this is that it's $12.99 and the F1500 is
the same price.
It's like $11.99, and the Jackery 1000 Plus is also $12.99, and they look a little bit better. They are a little bit nicer of machines, and so I would struggle justifying spending money on this care package versus those. But like I said, it did good enough that I'm interested to check out some other Pecron units and see if maybe the reason people love the brand so much is just based on some of the other more impressive power stations. So it wasn't bad though. If you guys are loyal to Pecron, or if you were looking at this unit and you just for some reason want it and like it, I would say get it. It did everything I wanted it to. It hasn't given me any problems. We've been playing around with it, using it for a while, and it seems decent. So good for Pecron for doing that. Otherwise, if there are some Pecron power stations that you guys think would absolutely blow us away that you want us to make a review on, leave them in the comments down below. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out and stay charged.